Welcome to the Mama Needs a Moment podcast with your hosts, Chrissy and Cindy, co-founders of Her Plus Health Collective, and moms who understand the chaos of juggling it all. But here's the thing, your well-being matters. That's why we're on a mission to change the way moms take care of themselves. This season, every episode features a roundtable conversation, bringing together trusted experts from different backgrounds to talk about the topics that matter most to moms, creating space for more collaborative whole person care. These episodes are short, meaningful, and easy to fit into real life. You'll hear from our Her Plus expert providers sharing expert insight and real-life tips you can use right away. Learn more about them in our free provider directory linked in the show notes. So take a deep breath, grab your coffee, and let's make these moments count. Welcome to the Mama Needs a Moment podcast, and a special welcome to our Her Plus expert providers that are joining us for today's roundtable conversation on what is really happening to mom's skin. We're going to be talking about things such as sleep, stress, hormones, all the different things that affect skin throughout our lives. Many moms notice changes like melasma, breakouts, dryness, or sensitivity during different stages of motherhood. In our next several episodes, we're exploring how factors like hormones, stress, sleep deprivation, and perimenopause can affect our skin, and which treatments and routines actually make a difference. Before we begin, we'll have each of our experts briefly introduce themselves and share their area of focus. And a quick reminder that our podcast episodes are also available in video format on our YouTube channel.
Good morning. Good afternoon. I'm Abby DeVries. I'm a family medicine physician and a certified menopause practitioner here in Durham. I have a practice that's specifically devoted to women in midlife, and so deal with lots of issues, including a lot of skin and hair issues as well. So nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
I'm Stephanie Opper. I am a licensed esthetician and the owner of a skin spa, Sensational Aesthetics, in Wake Forest. I've been practicing for 10 years. I work with moms, women, older women, men and teens as well. And I see this all of the time. So I'm glad to be here.
I'm Kate Lehman. I'm a nurse practitioner and certified nurse midwife. And I have been working in the community for about 15 years, attending births and taking care of moms. Recently, I opened up my own practice to focus on some of the areas that I felt were most overlooked in women's healthcare: early pregnancy, the first postpartum year, and perimenopause. They all have a lot of hormonal changes and a lot of big lifestyle changes. So that has become my area of focus.
Farzaneh Rezai. I am a scientist. I'm a microbial formulation scientist, mom to two teenagers. I, post-graduation, once I received my PhD, for about 2 decades, I have worked in various different industry where the focus has been the microbiome of whatever that environment was, whether it's soil microbiome, animal gut microbiome. And a few years ago, I started my own startup, which now I'm focusing on, in general, human microbiome. And my interest is a skin microbiome. And learning from a skin microbiome, my background basically and my expertise is how to develop the biological product that actually helps that microbiome. Now, I have products that developed and launched last year. They are living probiotic-based skincare that focus on your microbiome. Really great to be here. Thanks.
Thank you for having me. I'm impressed with this amazing group of women who's so smart. I have been a board certified dermatologist for about almost 20 years now. I used to work in academic medicine initially and opened up my own practice here in Cary about almost 4 years ago now, and just wanted to offer more of a boutique style approach, more customized to the patient, something where we could really offer what we wanted to our patients. And we see a wide range from little kids to older adults, skin cancers to cosmetics, and just really enjoy the work. And I love this group because one of the things that kind of I'm very passionate about is being that village for women. So I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much for having me here. So my name is Tiffany Webb. I am a licensed esthetician of 15 years now. And so in my journey in this industry, I have worked with, all different types of skin types, both men and women. I currently teach part-time at the Aveda Institute. And then I also have my own skincare studio, Stillness and Skin. And where there I focus mainly with working with women who are aging and in that kind of hormonal flux of perimenopause, menopausal skincare, but things that happen hormonally when you're pregnant that can also kind of throw a little bit of a kink in our typical skincare routines. So I'm just, again, happy to be here, super excited to chat with all these amazing women.
I am so excited to dive into this topic. I'm going to be taking notes because this is very pertinent to my life right now. So let's go ahead and dive in. What is actually happening to mom's skin? Let's figure this out, please. It seems like at some point in motherhood, many of us look in the mirror and think, wait a minute. When did my skin change? And apparently there's this statistic that it comes at 44. There's like a drastic change. So I'm just a few years away from that. And I'm biting my fingernails for when 44 hits, because apparently that's a thing. You can all verify that for me if that's true. Maybe it's melasma that showed up during pregnancy and never quite faded. I had it right above my upper lip. And I remember I went and saw a dermatologist because it was actually right before I got married. So pre-pregnancy. And he made a joke that I should stop drinking chocolate milk. And I just busted out in tears. It was horrible. So yes, not a great experience. Thankfully it went away. We get breakouts that feel like we're teenagers again, or skin that suddenly feels dry, sensitive, dull. I've been dealing with some redness, which where did that come from? Go away. And then there's the confusing part. Everyone online has a different explanation or a different product. I have so many products coming at me that they all swear will fix it. And the truth is, our skin is responding to a lot that's happening inside of our bodies during motherhood, from hormonal shifts to changes in our skin microbiome, to the physical and emotional demands of parenting, to things like diet, nutrition, stress, all of that. From your professional perspective, what is actually happening in our bodies during motherhood that leads to these changes? Help us understand.
I notice a lot because of the hormonal changes that are happening. When you get pregnant, your estrogen, progesterone, all of that is kind of doing its thing and changing. So therefore, your skin is getting ready to change. Some women even start to see that nice little glow in their skin because of the hormones. But also some women, for them, it's not necessarily a glow because of the fact that the hormones have now kicked in where I'm more oily. So now I've got acne that I never had to deal with before. Like you mentioned with melasma, pigmentation is popping up for me. I may have never ever had to deal with that before. So all of those things through that whole hormonal influx that's prepping for baby, which is all good for baby, just not so great always for us in our skin. It can be kind of tricky because some of the things that you typically work with as far as like your skin to help those things. So if you're like, oh, well, maybe I was using a tretinoin and a retin-A, you can't use that while you're pregnant. Also, salicylic acid, which is kind of like a go-to for people with acne concerns. So then you're kind of standing in your skincare aisle a little bit confused as to where to go with it. A lot of times, especially when we're talking about pigmentation, really sunscreen, because we can't do but so much for your skin while you're pregnant, because we have to, again, make sure baby is happy and getting everything that he or she needs. So sunscreen, and then kind of switching a little mini tweaks as to specifically what's going on with your skin.
We have these, especially in pregnancy, really very rapid hormone, metabolic, and immunologic changes that serve a purpose. And unlike adolescence and perimenopause, where it's more slow incremental changes, it happens very quickly. And it also resolves, fairly quickly. And there's not always a whole lot to do during that time. It's just waiting and seeing, and especially with some of the pigment changes afterwards, those will fade over time, and then you can decide what approach you want to take. But I think also just recognizing that this is temporary, and, once our bodies kind of go back to baseline, then we can address some of these issues that came up.
I'd like to add in there too, this is such an exciting time. Give yourself some grace. And you can do some things. The hormones really are all over the place. They're driving a lot of that change that you're seeing in your skin. But do simple things. Wear your SPF. That's really going to help for a lot of other things as well. Just do the simple things and don't worry, I guess, as much about what's going on. Maybe understand more too why it's happening, because of the fluctuating hormones, and it's happening quick, like you were saying. It's quickly changing. So your skin is just responding and trying to survive. It's kind of in survival mode in a sense, and it shows. And but just do those simple things to help make it so it's not so aggressive to you, and it doesn't bother you as much, because you're growing a human. You're taking all the good stuff. You're gonna get it back.
Echo what you say here, that less is more when you're pregnant. And I think sometimes the acne can be so severe that it's really hard for women. But I remember when I was pregnant, it was so hard to stop my tretinoin. And there are a few things that I'll offer that I think are helpful, like glycolic acid, which has been found to be very safe. And I think that gives people some relief. Azelaic acid, clindamycin. So there's some things that can help them. But I always tell them, like, our hands are a little tied right now while you're pregnant or breastfeeding even. And the other thing that I think is really, really important for women to know at this stage is moles and skin lesions can change. You will grow cherry angiomas, these red spots that happen more in pregnancy, or things like seborrheic keratoses. But if a mole changes, it's really important for pregnant women to get checked, because they're in an immunocompromised state, so their risk for skin cancer is higher. So we have caught a lot of melanomas during pregnancy, unfortunately. So that's always something that I always want people to be alert of for.
Dr. Miriam, those little red things that you just talked about, they're so annoying. They're like popping up everywhere. And I'm way beyond having kids. My kids are 13 and 15. And as I'm aging, I'm like, what is this? Why are these popping up all over? And so I'm really curious. Can you talk a little bit about the hormone shifts? Because we've talked a lot about pregnancy, but I even still have melasma on my neck from when I was pregnant. And like, why doesn't it go away? Or can you help me understand this a little bit?
Yeah. So as the estrogen increases in our body, as we should make shifts, and androgen hormones increase in our body, the cherry angiomas, which they have a cute name, which is the one positive thing about these little red bumps. Everybody has several by the age of 35, so there's nothing wrong with you. But when they happen in cosmetically significant locations, like on the face or the chest, then we can cauterize them with electrocautery. It's a pretty simple procedure. Usually that takes care of them. If there's a pretty strong feeder vessel, then they may recur and you may have to do it again. But it pretty easily treated. And then the other thing that people notice is these rough spots that are called seborrheic keratoses. Those pop up a lot in pregnancy. I always tell people it's one of the many sacrifices of motherhood, unfortunately. And then the other thing with the pigmentation is, the problem with melasma and cloasma, which is specifically when that happens during pregnancy, is it can become chronic. And so a lot of times you have to be on some sort of chronic management for it. And I agree, SPF is always number one, but there are other treatments you can do, like glycolic acid is very effective, retin-A, hydroquinone. There's so many things on the market. It just depends on what your skin can tolerate.
Just I'm thinking about kind of later phases of when you have teenagers and enter perimenopause, menopause. So you definitely have some of that hormonal chaos in perimenopause, which can lead to acne. And the other thing that happens as you lose estrogen is that you start to lose collagen. So aging happens more rapidly. So I'll say sunscreen again, because that's another main ager. And then I think we'll probably talk about some of the other things you can use to kind of minimize the signs of aging. But the estrogen loss is what starts to accelerate the skin changes as you get a little bit older. I don't know if Dr. Hake, you want to say anything else about that, but
I agree with you. And it's so nice to have like a multi approach with this. So yeah, I appreciate that.
We've mentioned several times SPF. I've struggled. I think I finally found a brand that I like, but do you all have a recommendation of a daily wear SPF that doesn't feel sticky on your face and that you can wear with your makeup?
The tinted Isdin brand, ISDIN. It's pretty pricey, but it's tinted, so the one I use is tinted, so it kind of feels like I'm getting some coverage. And then my dermatologist recommended it to me because it's also a treatment of sorts for cell turnover, I believe. So I've been super happy with that brand. And it's about $60 for a bottle, but I really don't need, very much, like a pea size, to get over most of my face.
So to add to that, you're going to hear me a lot, talking a lot about the skin microbiome later and what is the skin microbiome. So I always focus on what do you need to use to protect your skin microbiome, because that's the part that is invisible and is harder to protect it. Making sure that you are protecting your microbiome from UV is critical. So your skin sunscreen is super, super important. But generally speaking, not a specific brand, I always look for physical sunscreen, the sunscreen that physically help you block UV, not the chemical one. So anything that the active ingredient that's there, it's known for physical protection and not chemical. To me, it's, it's good. I've personally used Elta, the tinted Elta, and those are the physical one. The chemical always destroy my skin. And then later in life, when I learned that, it's actually destroying your microbiome, then it was a big no-no for me. But I also heard from people that the best sunscreen is the one that you can use every day. So that's another, point to have here.
Physical is usually preferred because it doesn't have to go in and make that chemical reaction and cause that activity that can also cause other things. But I usually tell my clients, I just want you to use something. So if you're going to use the other one, that's fine. Just make sure you're using it daily and consistently, because that is a big challenge. A lot of times, like you were saying, Cindy, you can't find one that your skin likes. And so you don't wear it because it breaks me out or it pills or there's all these different reasons. So you do find one that you do love, and that's when you do stick with it. And whether it's, like I said, physical is usually preferred because it sets on top and it's blocking all those UVBs. Elastin is a great one. The Isdin is great too. With the tinted, Elastin's an amazing one too. Elta MD is great. And then there's clear ones too. So just play around with them.
Thank you all. That was such a wonderful discussion on the skin and what is actually going on. Be sure to come back for our next episode when we go into more detail on what exactly the skin's microbiome is, and the experts discuss when a mom should be concerned about skin changes.
That's a wrap. You carved out a few moments just for yourself, and that's a big deal.
We understand that time is limited, but we've got your back, which is why we keep these episodes short, sweet, and packed with goodness.
Don't miss a thing. Hit the follow button so you're always the first to know when a new episode drops. If you had as much fun as we did, let us know by leaving a review.
And remember to let other moms know that we're here doing motherhood alongside you. Grateful to share a few moments taking care of you.